This is then the chemistry of the atmosphere knowledge test. Right, now there's quite a fair bit of overlap, right, between this unit and the ecology, right, so the wording is again quite important in this. Right, the full balanced symbol equation for photosynthesis. We've got to do this one in green, haven't we? All right, so we're going to write it down, full symbol, so 6CO2 plus 6H2O, right, so the CO2 then comes in from the atmosphere, H2O comes in from the roots, do this bit in yellow, light from the sun, which is the energy source, and then what we then do is we make C6H12O6, which is glucose, plus 6O2, alright, so when it says balanced, balance means chucking a 6 there, a 6 there, and a 6 there. Right, the full balanced equation for aerobic respiration. Okay, so I'm going to do this one in purple. Right, this is really tricky, this one. It's almost as if I'm going to be writing this side over here. Plus C6H12O6, arrow 6CO2 plus 6H2O. Okay, that is then aerobic respiration. Full balanced again. The balanced bit is the 6, oops, no 6 there, 6 and 6, making the same amounts on both sides. Right, so what living organism started the process of converting CO2 into oxygen? Right, this was algae 2.7 billion years ago. That's a fairly long time ago. Where is carbon dioxide locked away? Right, so there's loads and loads of carbon dioxide that what it is, it's stored away by planet Earth itself. Right, there's large amounts in seawater, huge amounts of stored carbon dioxide. There is also lots in fossil fuels, which we are obviously kind of releasing, right, which is really silly. There's lots stored in plants, and there's also lots stored in sedimentary rocks. And what we really want to do is we want to make sure that all that carbon dioxide stays locked away, because the more that comes out, the more greenhouse effects is going to happen, and the more global warming, which then leads to climate change. What is the greenhouse effect? The greenhouse effect, okay, so what I could do is here I could just draw planet Earth. Around the outside, what we've then got is we've got a layer of CO2 and CH4, which is methane. Then we've got a big fat yellow sun. The yellow sun is then shining energy towards planet Earth. Right, should we call planet Earth green? Let's call it green with a bit of blue in there, you know, just for a bit of C. Right, and what happens is the sun's heat hits Earth, and then it turns into, should have done it on red, heat, and the heat rises. Some of it escapes, a lot of it gets trapped by the blanket of carbon dioxide and methane. And what happens is the greenhouse effect then causes planet Earth to then warm up, which causes global warming, which then causes the climate change. So greenhouse effect is trapping of the sun's warmth in the atmosphere. Right, so what are the causes, effects and hindrances and solutions to global warming? Right, so obviously global warming is massive, it's affecting every single one of us. So the three causes are burning fossil fuels. Okay, it's quite small for me to write on this. Another cause is deforestation. Okay, and another cause is releasing trapped greenhouse gases. The effects, right? What effects are all these things happening to us, right? We're having climate change, okay, where temperatures are changing all over the world. We're getting increased drought. don't think we're ever going to suffer from that in England, right? And we're going to have rising sea levels. Okay, that's global warming. It's then changing the climate. There are certain places that we're getting almost no rain year on, right? And then rising sea levels because the ice caps are then melting. Hindrances to us actually sorting out global warming is lack of awareness. Economic interests and expensive alternatives. Right, so that basically means that global warming's happening, right? But people are either unaware of it. Economic interest means they don't care because there's loads and loads of money that's involved, right? So what they're going to do, they're going to sort of decrease their billions of pounds in the bank, right, so that they can save global warming. And the alternatives to the products that you might have to reduce global warming tend to be more expensive, like electric cars. Solutions are more trees, because basically more trees help. Save energy, turn your lights off. More efficient energy sources. So use more wind, use more wave, use more tidal. Right, so what we've got is we've got the greenhouse effect, so planet Earth warmed up, that leads to global warming. Right, now once the Earth actually warms up, examples of climate change itself. So we've got rising sea levels, right? That's because the ice caps, the Antarctic and the Arctic, are melting. That water is then going into the sea and then making the sea levels then rise. We also get extreme weather. Now, luckily in England, we don't really suffer from extreme weather, but certain places in the world, massive flooding, heat waves. You know, Europe this year has had ridiculous amounts of heat waves. Changes in rainfall and where, right? So we seem to be getting a lot more rainfall than we've ever had. Number 4, distribution of species, okay, and then it can lead to extinction. Right, so if you think as climate change increases, so if you think the North Pole and all those areas end up melting and there's no ice there left at all, what are the polar bears going to do? What are the penguins going to do on the Antarctic? Right, it affects where species are actually able to live. Question number 7. Right, now this is quite a longish definition. Right, the carbon footprint is a measure of the amount of CO2 released into the atmosphere as a result of an individual organism or organisation or community. Okay, so it's basically how much carbon is released into the atmosphere from particularly an organisation or a community. Question number 8, right? There is 5 ways in which you could personally reduce your carbon footprint. Go car free. Now that'd be great, right? But obviously getting to places, cars is the most convenient because it's kind of quite selfish. Reduce flights. Okay, aeroplanes give out huge amounts of carbon dioxide. Use renewable energy. Now the good thing is that's getting more and more. You've got solar panels, you've got wind farms, right? And if you're using renewable energy, then you're not using electricity from power stations, which reduces the carbon footprint. Use public transport, which is great. Now it does take longer, all right? However, in the grand scale of things, it would be a good idea to do that more, right? And then kind of a little bit more extreme is potentially go vegan, right? Because if then you're not eating meats, right, then what you can do is then you're not producing the carbon dioxide from the cows. Question 9. What are the 3 main air pollutants and what can they cause? Right? Carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxides and oxides of nitrogen, and particulates. Right, so carbon monoxide is a toxic, colourless gas. It is also odourless. And what they do is they sometimes call it the silent killer, right? Because what you can do is if you're breathing in too much carbon monoxide, it takes the place of the oxygen in your blood, right? And eventually what it can do, it can kill you, right? And that is an air pollutant. Sulfur dioxides and oxides of nitrogen, what they can do is they can cause respiratory problems and things like acid rain. Particulates, they can cause global dimming and other particular health problems, particularly to do with the lungs. What is global dimming? It is a decrease in the amount of solar radiation reaching Earth, or reaching Earth's surface, right? So what it really is, it's the amount of pollution that's actually in the atmosphere is blocking the sun. Number 11, what is acid rain? It is rainfall so acidic that it causes environmental harm. Right, so you see statues on the side of churches that are kind of eroded away. There's lakes in Scandinavia that